Jannabelle. As always, we have a documentary of the week. Yes, I know it's been forever since I've done a documentary of the week. I actually had another documentary. It is all set to go and everything to be uploaded for you today, but that is being moved to next week. Instead, we are talking about a documentary that has just been released today called 5B. 5B is about the first AIDS ward in a hospital, specifically in San Francisco. This was like first ward of its kind, especially back in the day when the whole AIDS epidemic and everything was starting up and everything, that whole thing and everything. And oh my god, this is a documentary, no joke, everyone needs to see. Everyone needs to go see this documentary. Now here's the thing, I went to go see this with one of my buddies from work, Jeremy. Him and I went to go see it, and we were both just floored by this movie. We were. Now here's the thing too. Now I have a little bit of knowledge of like the whole AIDS epidemic and everything, mainly because of like various different like little news broadcasts and stuff and like little things, but mainly because of this movie right here and the band Played On. I know I've talked about this movie before. Definitely check this one out as well at some point if you haven't already. Now here's the thing too, because while I was watching this documentary, I kept thinking like, oh my god, like this would really be good for the younger peoples. You know, when I say that, younger crowd, like pretty much anyone who's about 5 to 10 years younger and even younger than that, because I remember kind of growing up, and Jeremy I know is about the same age as me. I think he's about a year younger than me. So we were both kind of growing up around that time. I kind of assumed that he already sort of knew like some of the struggles and everything and some of the bias and like some of the fear all around with AIDS. But I'm so glad that I asked him to go see this with me, because he actually even was saying too, he's like, wow, I had no idea that a lot of this stuff was going on. Because you kind of figure like, oh, AIDS, okay, yeah, everyone knows about AIDS. But, you know, when we were kind of growing up, I know he did not grow up out here like I did. But I remember kind of growing up and stuff and remembering at least sort of the tail end of a lot of this kind of AIDS fear and everything, and people just not being fully educated. Like, people were still learning about AIDS when I was growing up. Like, I was born in 84, so kind of like, you know, obviously AIDS was already full-fledged at that point and everything. So much stuff going on. But yeah, but I had some exposure, and like I said, you know, with this movie too, I remember seeing this movie when it was first airing on HBO and everything. So I have some knowledge of everything, but everyone really needs to see this, because, like I said, this, you know, really kind of goes to show, even though it's about one specific ward in a San Francisco hospital and everything, you see so much of what the world was going through during that time with AIDS, trying to figure out what this whole thing was. Like, it starts off with discussing kind of how AIDS started. A lot of people thought, okay, it's like some sort of cancer and stuff, like, and I know it was dubbed the gay cancer and everything, through up till, kind of pretty much modern day, but modern day is more of like what the people who were featured in this documentary kind of up to, but mainly the story itself was up, you know, talking through to about 96 with like the drugs that really they got, I should say, invented and realized, okay, this is what works to kind of suppress and at least slow down AIDS and everything, and not so much of a death sentence. I mean, obviously, more than likely, if you have AIDS, you're gonna more than likely die of complications of AIDS, but you can actually live a more normal, healthy life with these drugs. But most of the movie is talking about the different things going on with it, the sort of both sides a little bit of the whole AIDS spectrum. People who had AIDS and everything, seeing their like families sort of go through this and everything, and how many people, you know, not really having the support of their family and stuff and friends and even sometimes lovers because this whole AIDS thing and not knowing how this was like spread at the time. Obviously, we know now it is, spread through bodily fluid, whether it's, like a cut or something or sexually, whatnot, and everything. But back then, even when I was little, even when we knew, like, oh, this is how you can get it, there was still that fear and everything among people of like, well, oh my god, like what, person's, drinking from a drinking fountain, am I gonna get AIDS and stuff? Sort of that stigma and everything, but at the same time, because as much as I want to get angry with stuff like that, of just like the naiveness, you still also have to kind of understand at that time it's sort of justifiable with people who were very much afraid of it and everything. How, what if I get it and stuff? So because I mean we didn't totally understand, we even with some of the stuff that we were being informed about, I totally get it. It's not like today where it's like, dude, seriously, like if you're afraid of getting AIDS because you shook someone's hand, you're just fucking ignorant. I'm just saying. Sorry for the little mini F bomb, but you do have to understand, like, when if you feel yourself getting like enraged, because there was a few moments where I could feel myself like, oh my god, like what? Like I said, I had to kind of tell myself, oh my god, no, this was back in the beginning of AIDS and everything, and just thinking that only gay men, get this and stuff. We know now that that's not true. Anyone's susceptible of getting AIDS and everything. And even there was a nurse who, for the longest time, her identity was not revealed, but they sort of christened her Jane Doe because she had actually accidentally poked herself with a used needle that was exposed to AIDS. That was straight from an HIV slash AIDS patient, and it was a total accidental thing. Like, we do eventually figure out, or we are told who Jane Doe was and everything, and she explains, like, what happened. She's like, oh my god, it was just, I didn't like angle the needle right as I was disposing of it, and it literally went through my glove and got my finger and everything. So and kind of listening to her sort of story and everything, and like her fears and her just being scared and everything, and her emotions is unbelievable. And honestly too, like the nurses and doctors who were there at the time, like, I mean, I've always had respect for nurses and everything. I feel like they're the ones who really make sure that everything's running smoothly. Like doctors, whatever, you come in for 5 minutes, whatever. It is the freaking nurses. And I swear, I feel like, even some of the nurses featured in this documentary were even kind of saying, like, yeah, normally, we were just kind of like, bedside manner is not like what like it was or it is today, where it's kind of like, oh, a little more personable. But because these people, like, no one wanted to even touch them, even like other nurses and doctors, we made sure to kind of like at least hold their hand or whatnot, just to give them that connection. And a few of these people were saying, like, yeah, I hadn't been touched in like a year, like I had no physical contact, and just to be able to have someone like hold my hand or sort of hold my shoulder and just give me that human interaction went so far for them. And just these these nurses and everything, like even their side, to have to, because like I said, this was a whole wing, and all these people were like the only ones who were kind of dealing with this. And if there was another, AIDS patient that may have been on a different floor or a different wing for whatever reason, like a lot of doctors and nurses, and once again, kind of like I get where they're coming from, because we didn't know we didn't know then what we know now about AIDS and HIV, but like they were not like treated that well. I mean, in general, like first off, being gay back then even still was like a big deal. It's still a big deal now. Like still, people are still trying to get acceptance for being gay, but to be gay and then on top of that have this disease, and everyone's saying, oh, it's like the gay plague, oh, it's the gay cancer and stuff. It's like, oh, it's really an eye-opener, and I think a lot of people need to like I said, everyone needs to go check out this documentary. And by the way, you need to make sure you bring Kleenex with you. I'm not saying like a couple of Kleenexes or a box of Kleenex. You need like 5 freaking boxes of freaking Kleenex. Let me tell ya. Let me tell ya. But no, definitely check this movie out, or this documentary out, you guys. It is, oh my gosh. And do like what I did. Take a friend with you. Take a friend. I'm glad I took my buddy with me because, like I said, I don't want to say shocked, but I was surprised because at my age, I think everyone just kind of automatically knows about, like, the whole, like, AIDS epidemic and, like, just how tough it was around that time and, like, the fear and all this stuff. That I forget, yeah, like, not everyone, you know, not everyone's like me and is always, like, just fascinated with, like, the whole evolution of AIDS and everything, you know, it is. But no, definitely check this one out, you guys. Like I said, bring a friend with you. This is definitely one of you. Bring a friend, bring a couple people, just to get more people exposed to what it was like when AIDS first hit and everything. So no, definitely check it out, you guys. Obviously I would say leave a comment in the bottom in the comments here, but probably not too many of you have seen it yet. And I know it's not running everywhere, but like Jen, Christian, I know your little hick town that you live in that shows like 2 movies like for a few months. Go to the next town over, see if they're playing it. You guys would really enjoy this one. I think all of you guys would definitely. But till next time, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.